No. Nope. You should not. Why? Because the banner's bad and Tanabata's coming up. Those are really just the two easiest explanations as to why. This banner is just bad. It's just very bad. The collective talent on this banner is among the lowest you'll ever see on any given year. It's just bad. First of all, it's diluted. It's, you know, it's got the 10 featured SSRs to make it that much more difficult for you to pull the character. But not only that, just, you know, the relevant characters, unfortunately, just aren't top tier yet. I talked about this in the best teams video, but the metal cooler is unfortunately incredibly restrictive in terms of how you run the team. In spite of the fact that his leader skills cater to Terrifying Conquerors and what's the other one? Terrifying Conquerors and is it Artificial Life Force? Power Absorption. You are sort of hamstrung in your team building because you need movie bosses and you need Wicked Bloodlines, and you got to commit to one or the other. And since neither category is exactly the most top tier yet, that does lower this guy's overall value. That being said, he is usable, but is he a must-have now? No, he's not. There could be a Tanabata celebration or a GDC celebration that could, you know, retroactively make you regret having not summoned for this guy. But that's just part of the gacha scene. Like, sometimes you gotta make cuts, you gotta make sacrifices. This is one of those sacrifices where it's not that bad, because at the end of the day, you would have saved for an even bigger cause. Let's just say, you know, Tanabata celebration is Namek Saga, or GDC is Namek Saga, and suddenly Freeze and other Wicked Bloodline characters are very relevant. Metal Cooler gets an automatic boost in value simply for that fact. And that is true. Metal Cooler is going to be very relevant when Wicked Bloodline becomes top tier. It could happen over the course of this celebration, or it could happen over the course of multiple celebrations, as we have seen throughout this year of 2026. They have done a pretty good job in upgrading categories that were otherwise previously irrelevant. Saiyan Saga. What was the one after that? It was, or actually before that, Majin Buu Saga, Saiyan Saga. We've seen some nice upgrades there. So Wicked Bloodline could be next. But is it better to have assembled your Wicked Bloodline potential prospects beforehand, lowering your stone count going into the bigger celebrations? Or is it better to first have more stones to go into the bigger celebrations where we could be establishing a new order for Wicked Bloodline, and then build your team around the bigger pieces, the better pieces? It's better to do it that way. For argument's sake, full power Freeze LR shows up here, or I don't know, LR Cooler, the final form Cooler shows up here, right? You get this guy, yeah, you automatically will then regret not having summoned for this guy, but it's better to then move forward building a team with him than having built a team with him and then you are unable to get this guy and you'll have to move forward without this guy. You get what I'm saying? I am very loopy because I'm coming off of a 6-hour stream, bunch of summons, bunch of videos, but I wanted to get this video out there because you guys have wanted these videos out in a timely fashion, so I'm doing my best. Couldn't do it before the banner dropped because honestly I needed to see the banner, and now that I've seen it, it sucks. It's a bad banner. New character, okay, 2. Super Easy A, okay, 3. Turles Easy A, 4. That's still 4 out of 10. That's less than a 50% on the featured cast for characters that you would be remotely interested in. No thanks. Not necessary. Unless you're a whale, or unless you are a diehard Metal Cooler fan, in which case I guess you can. But don't forget, you do have 7 free tickets available from the Seriously Serious fight. I have dropped those. Actually, you know what? You're going to be seeing this video beforehand. I will be dropping those videos later on today. I was able to clear all missions done with no new units, and I was very sleepy. So with those 2 modifiers or debuffs in my run, I was still able to get them done with no new units. So if you're struggling on those fights, do check out those videos. They will help you get through it. And if you do get your 7 free tickets, you can jump in and do those free summons that way. And who knows, maybe you could get it. Maybe, just maybe. I am kind of spoiling my showcase video, but I will say in terms of the showcase, what this guy does individually, as far as normal conventions, not the most flashy character. You're not looking at high damage values for a 55% character nowadays in 2026 with this guy. What he does is more support based. If your team is duty, this guy's support's probably not going to be as noticeable or effective. This guy cannot carry a team by himself, not at 55%. So if you are trying to get the most out of this character, you would likely want to get more copies so that the individual feats that the character can perform will be more effective, more prominent. The supporting setup that this character provides is good, But to what end if the team is not that high functioning? If you don't have the absolute premium best movie bosses that you can have at this point in the middle of 2026, or the best Wicked Bloodline characters, which basically are non-existent, what is the point of having all of these supports? I am kind of being a little overly negative here, but I am also trying to convey the main underlying message, which is to convince yourself to skip the occasional banner in search of something better, and that something better is just around the corner. And I'm not even talking GDC. Like GDC, we'll get to that point afterwards. TDC is where it's at if you have to choose between Dokkan Festival Part 2 and Tanabata. And apparently there was like some leak or something that I mean, I'll make a separate video about it. I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to talk about that in this video, so I will say nothing. Be careful when walking through the comments, but I don't think I've seen anything quite tangible enough yet. But even if the Tanabata celebration were to be leaked, it wouldn't change the fact that the Tanabata celebration would be more hype. And also, there is a realistic possibility that the anniversary LRs could make their return during this instead of GDC. I don't know if they could necessarily fit all of them on the banner. How did they do this before, actually? Hold on. All right, so let's go back to year 7. One of the best, most memorable celebrations for me personally, and also in general for Dokkan players. Global's 7th anniversary, July 6th, 2022. At the same time, end of June going into July, JP was experiencing their Tanabata celebration. So what did Global get at that time? We got LR God Goku and Vegeta. We got LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta for the Dual Dokkan Festival in Part 1. What did JP receive at the same time? Let's take a look. They got Trunks and Vegeta. Oh yeah, with both of the characters, both of the Dokkan festivals in that banner. Let's check this out. Oh my god. Oh yeah, it's the bigger. Yeah, that's what it was. They have a ton of characters featured on it. There were 2 different banners. There was the regular Dokkan festival, and then there was like the special Tanabata one. So it's not exactly like a guaranteed pull or anything like that, but that's how they formatted it. Yeah, so it wasn't brought back on the official banner. It was brought back on a separate special banner. I have a feeling something like that will happen again, and I think it will have a lot of potentially very valuable characters to include there, especially since it would be Dokkan Festival. They could throw in a lot of like potential super easy A's, already established super easy A's, even more. So I would imagine something like that will be happening during the new Tanabata. And that's another thing that might also take away some of your stones, which for some people, especially new players, a very valid, reasoning, justification. The prospect of getting a ton of different characters along with the 11th anniversary characters and the new Tanabata LR all in one banner might be, I mean, to me, I hate to sound like a hater, that is more worth it than this. Some people would argue new players could benefit from summoning on this banner. Normally, I would agree, because objectively speaking, you can only go up, right? When you're starting out, you don't have any characters would be good. The thing is though, when you average out the overall talent of this lineup versus other diluted banners, it's just very sad in terms of overall value and effectiveness, what these characters collectively can do compared to other banners. And I just think even as a newer player, you got to set your standards higher, which sounds incredibly embarrassing for this banner, but that's just how it is. Sometimes banners are below dirt. They're just so bad. Makes you wonder, honestly, why gacha games do these sorts of things. Like, don't they want to earn a ton of money every single time, or do they intentionally tank, like this occasionally just to make sure that people are banking for like the next big celebration? I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this. The last thing that I want to mention, when will Metal Cooler come back? We don't know for sure, especially since this year's celebrations have been a little bit wonky in terms of return dates. A lot of people were theorizing that in fact Deborah could be coming back as early as this celebration, which is kind of a little too soon, but they've also been kind of doing that. They've been bringing back characters faster than expected. So under the normal structural circumstance established from last year, which character fits the same time slot and when did they come back? So if we go back, this is why my sacred timeline is so nice for me to use. If we go back to May, June. Okay, so it was Mercenary Tau. Mercenary Tau came out at the same time as Metal Cooler. Mercenary Tau is right here. And we can check the featured banners, and this is where we will see. So we first came out May, yeah, so going into June 2025. He came back in November for the Android 16 banner. So that was 6 months, actually more like 5. Oh, woo. No, it was 6 months later. It was half a year later. That has been changing. So at most 6 months from now, the unit will come back. So let's just say, for argument's sake, Tanabata is an LR cooler. GDC, Namek Saga, full power Frieza, banner unit, second form Frieza, I don't know, something like that. And now Wicked Bloodline is reigning supreme, wreaking havoc in Dokkan. The final piece of your Wicked Bloodline puzzle will show up during the holiday of 2026. And around that time, we would have finished the GDC. We would be ramping up, getting ready for the anniversary. But before that happens, if you want to try to pull off one last heist and get that final piece for Wicked Bloodline, you sure can. The stakes will be much lower at that point, and you can probably afford to throw away a couple of stones here and there. Right now, I just don't think that it's the time. So for all those different reasons that I've mentioned, hopefully, well, I hope I said all this well, you shouldn't. Easy no, easy skip. By the time I finish this video, some of you guys have probably already summoned, and if that's one of you, let me know. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on the banner. Is it a good banner? Is it a bad banner? Do you agree or disagree with anything that I have to say? And were you there for my summon stream? Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content of the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of myself do it. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.